Hey guys, welcome back to Foundation Week. For a whole week long, 7 days straight, we're talking about foundation. So first impressions, reviews on foundations. I have done a first impressions a while ago and I'm updating you guys on what's going on with them. Today we're gonna be talking about a foundation that I did a first impressions on and it was kind of a first impressions fail. I didn't like the foundation at all. And I told you guys, I'm gonna need to update you guys on this one because it's not working out. So the foundation I'm talking about is the Milani Conceal and Perfect 2-in-1 foundation. This was so raved about here on YouTube. This is so raved about on Instagram, everywhere. Everybody loved it. Oily skin, dry skin, so I thought, okay, for sure this is gonna work for me. So really quickly before I start getting into the actual foundation review, if you are trying to shade match, I'll put down below a bunch of shades, drugstore, high-end, different foundations and shade matches that match me. So if you're trying to use me for a reference, hopefully one of those will work and it will help you figure out if this is good or not. So I'll find shade matches that work for this particular foundation. This shade in here would totally be a really good shade match for me, but I find that this foundation Oxidize. I'll go more into detail about that in a second. My skin is normal to dry skin. I do live in super hot weather. I live in Arizona. It is so incredibly hot outside. So my foundation will melt off. It will get greasy and oily looking because of just how hot it is. Also, I do have sensitive skin and I will break out if a foundation is just too heavy and too much for my skin. So that's about my skin. Let me read the claims really quick so you can be refreshed and know the claims. This is a 2-in-1 foundation and concealer. I have the shade Warm Beige 05. It says it's medium to full coverage, lightweight, oil-free formula, long-wearing, water-resistant, and sweat-proof. Nowhere on here it says the finish, but I'm just going to tell you it is a matte finish foundation. It's a matte. Some people may say it's a semi-matte. I consider this a matte foundation. So like I said, I got 05 Warm Beige. Let's just talk about pros. Let's talk about pros first, okay? I do think that this is a long-wearing foundation. I do think that the coverage is really, really good. I don't think it's super full coverage if I'm comparing it to the Dermacol foundation. It's not like the Dermacol foundation, but it does have normal standard, medium, high, full coverage depending on what it is that you need to cover. This is a really good foundation. If you don't have a lot of like dark spots and whatnot, this will cover pretty well. I had a couple of dark spots, as you guys will see in the demo, and it's still covered, but I still have a scar here that it didn't cover, so it's not what I would consider to be super full coverage. Is like the Dermacol, it will cover this. So that's what I'm kind of talking about. So it covers like pigmentation and blemishes and things like that. So I think it's super medium high, maybe light full coverage, if that even makes any sense at all. So the foundation is a glass bottle. It does have a pump, so I really like that. I love that it has a pump. It squeezes evenly and slowly, so you can definitely control how much you get out. The first con that I found with this foundation is that it is really drying. It says that it doesn't say here. It says it's a 2-in-1 foundation and concealer. I think this will conceal, like spot conceal blemishes and things on your face. So you can definitely go in and put it on certain spots that you want more coverage, blend it out, and it will add coverage without looking cakey. But I would never put this underneath the eyes. It just cracked under there. It's too drying, fine lines just were showing. It just wasn't a good under eye concealer. But for spots concealing, I think it does a really good job, so I definitely think that it does that. The only con to this is it does oxidize. I'm going to be showing you guys how it oxidizes. The first strand, as you can tell, it's been sitting on my hand for a while and it turns orangey and darker. And you can see the fresh swatch, how much lighter it is. So for me, if it was the fresh swatched color, those are the colors that would match me that I'm talking about listed down below. But the fact is, I would definitely recommend going a shade lighter. Next time I would go a shade lighter so that when it oxidizes, it matches me really, really well. Right now, it matches me because I'm my summer shade. So I'm also gonna list down below my summer shades that matches it when it oxidizes. So I'll list that off down below as well. I hope that isn't too confusing, but it does match me right now because I'm all summery, tanned up, if that makes any sense. I I do think the foundation feels really lightweight for how much coverage it gives. I don't think that it feels super cakey or super thick on the skin. I do feel it's a little bit drying. I think this would be great if you have oily skin. I think that if you have dry skin, there are certain things that you need to do for this foundation to work for you. So I found some things that I do that really helps the foundation work for me. Because if I don't do these things, then the foundation really sinks in to fine lines and clings onto dry patches. So that's the problem. It clings onto dry patches, it looks a little bit cakey, and it really sinks into my fine lines where it looks like, legit, like I'm a porcelain doll that has a bunch of cracks in my skin. Like my skin will look like cracks, like I'm talking about Grand Canyon cracks on my forehead. So I do have some tricks that I use when I'm using this foundation, and I recommend for you guys. So let's get into the demo where I explain all that. So I'm gonna go through and show you guys how, if you have dry skin, to make this work, because this totally didn't work for me. So I just put on regular moisturizer. I'm using the e.l.f. hydrating moisturizer right now. I always use a sponge with this foundation, and this little thing will be your best friend. If you have dry skin, I would definitely recommend trying this out. Buying it, you can buy it I think at Walgreens or Target or something like that. I will link it off down below. It's argan oil. It's a Pur D'Or Argan Oil for body, hair, and face, and it's natural and organic, and I've tried several argan oils on my face. This is the only one that won't break me out, that isn't too oily, that sinks into the skin and works good with other foundations. So it's the only one I mix in with foundation. So you can do a couple things. You can try to mix it in with your foundation, or you can put it on your face first, or you can put it on like spots, maybe spots that are dry, spots that look cakey. Maybe you tried this foundation already and there are certain spots that just don't look good. I mix it in with my foundation all the time, just like a drop. But today I'm just gonna put like about a drop on my hand, and I'm just gonna blend it in to the skin before foundation. And whenever I do this, I don't really use a primer. This foundation is pretty long wearing on its own. I don't use a primer, but I do put it on all over my face. Especially here, because this is where I get fine lines and it kind of sinks in and looks like I have a cracked face. Then I'm gonna go in with the foundation. So I have worn Beige 05. So I'm just gonna do one pump in the back of my hand, and I'm gonna start to blot it on my face, and I'm going to blend it in with the sponge. And the sponge is damp, so it helps as well. Here we go. This one's the Morphe sponge. I find that foundations that are full coverage or lots of coverage or heavy or matte, I have to use that argan oil, and that's seriously like the trick. You can try to use a hydrating primer, sometimes that works, but I'd rather just do something that's gonna work all the time. Totally scratched up my eye just a second ago. Okay, so that's one layer. You can see how smooth it made my skin. I'm gonna go in with another light layer. Another thing that I found that I actually really like with this foundation is the silly sponge. I'll use a silly sponge and it makes this foundation look really nice on the skin. Again, I'll blot it, but it just like blends over every imperfection. So it looks really good on the skin. I just don't like to use this around the nose. Like how smooth, can you see how smooth it like blended out the foundation here? Just so smooth. So I do like the silly sponge with this. Again, it just, like I've used a brush and just, the silly sponge will do really good, especially if you have dry skin, I feel like, for some odd reason. Also a trick whenever I'm done with my face makeup is I'll use the Milani Make It Last setting spray, and this will help to really, if you have dry skin, it'll help the foundation sit better, so it won't look cakey on your skin. And since it's a Milani product, they're meant to go together. It's meant to use a spray, so it's nice. So I'll just let it sit in, and it seriously makes my foundation so nice. So if you want to use this foundation, it has great coverage, whatever. These are some tips and tricks if you have dry skin to make the foundation really work for you, and that's what I did to make the foundation work for me, because I do love this. It really is nice. So I hope that demo was kind of helpful for those of you guys that have dry skin. If you have oily skin, I think this foundation will work great. It also is a long wearing foundation. I find that doing the routine that I do, I don't use a primer, and it still wears so nice on my skin. Even with the hot weather, it does really, really good. So I really like that. So all in all, you guys, I like this. I don't mind going through the extra steps of all the things that I have to do to make the foundation work for me. The only thing that just, it bothers me, I almost can't handle it, but I kind of make it work, like I force myself, is the oxidation. Like, this oxidizes so much, like so much. And I hate that I go throughout the day and at the end of the night I look orange. I'm just like, at what point did I go from porcelain doll to Oompa Loompa? Like, you know what I mean? So that's the only thing, is that it does oxidize. Some people it oxidizes, some people it doesn't. So you're just gonna have to try it for yourself. I'm just glad that it's a drugstore foundation. And I do recommend using this with the makeup setting spray. It just pairs up so beautifully on the skin. I'm gonna bring you guys in closer so you guys can take a look at my skin right now. But I do love this. This just makes this 10 times better. So I recommend trying this as well. They just work so well together. So yeah, I'm sorry that I left you guys with a really bad first impressions. I hope this review was helpful. I know I'm kind of serious, on the serious side today. But yeah, I hope that this was helpful. I do like this foundation. I think it is a 7 out of 10, and the only reason it's not a 10 is because it oxidizes on me. So I don't mind having to use argan oil, because I have to all the time if I want a super matte foundation. For me, with dry skin, I have to use this. So I hope you guys are having a wonderful Saturday. I hope you guys are still enjoying foundation week. Come back tomorrow for another foundation video, and it's going to be really awesome. So make sure that you come back tomorrow. I love you guys. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.